So, you know, it doesn't really, throttle doesn't really do anything when you're pulling that trigger. So, we have to do a general maintenance on this thing. Usually, the reason why you're not getting any sort of like, when you pull on the throttle and it doesn't accelerate, there are three things, main things to look for. Fuel. You know, so are you, actually, no, let's go with the, well, that's interesting. I want to see if it's like, it's getting clogged, right? So, this here, see how that's like, kind of oily. Right, so, you want to wash this. So, you want to take this air filter here, wash it with some soapy water, let it dry, and then you're going to recoat it with some oil. You want to use this SA30 oil. Okay, so we're going to do that and wash that. So throw that in the bucket. Alright. Next thing we're going to do is, see, the exhaust also can get clogged with like carbon buildup and oil, depending on what the condition was of the engine. So we're going to pull the shroud off and check that. I'm going to redo the valves also. The hardest part is done, which is the carburetor. But let's check the fuel filter. Fuel filter. It's probably like the easiest thing, lowest hanging fruit, I think, that will cause problems. This fuel filter can be clogged. And we need to try to see if, the fuel filters themselves are very cheap, so we can just like get a new one on there, you know. So this could be clogged. Not really sure, but what I recommend is to just get a new one, replace it, you know. So I have a new fuel filter, so we'll throw. I don't have the exact same fuel filter. This is the one I have as a replacement. It looks like the diameter of that is going to be a little too small for that line. So I'm just going to pull this off because I want to see. Not really. It's about the same. See, look at that. The diameter is pretty much the same. Okay. Yeah, we're going to switch that out. Okay, so that's a new fuel filter. Let's throw that in there. Make sure it sits flat. Okay, so that's it. We get ourselves a new fuel filter, right? Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to check the valve clearance between the rocker arms on the intake and the exhaust side. To do that, we're going to have to pull the, oops, you can't even see what I'm talking about. Okay. We're going to check the valve clearance, I said, on the intake and exhaust side between the rocker arms. So we're going to pull this shroud off, and then I want to pull this muffler off, and it looks like, like this, those three T25s. That's some easy. Gosh, what the heck's going on there? Now here's the thing, this could be clogged. There's a high chance that this is clogged. And if it's clogged, it won't run. Wow. That's going to get stripped. Okay. Let's see how this works out. Okay, that one's going to strip. This one's already turning. Definitely think it's my, oh yeah, it's definitely stripped. I believe it's my fault that that's stripped. I didn't do a good angle on it, so we're gonna flathead this. Ooh boy. Alright. It's time for a little penetration oil there. Okay, I'll be back. I'm not really sure if I have to actually remove that. Now I think about it, the way it looks, I can leave that. Let me just finish unscrewing these and see. Yeah, that's a better view. I hate those videos when you're just seeing all hands and you're like, oh dude, just move the camera, you know? Okay. So that's that. Those are really long. I have 2 of those. The other one. So again, there's 2 of them. They look like that. All right. Yeah, I think feels like that should just come right off. No, it's right there still. All right, so time for the impact screwdriver. Let's see what we can do here. So I got the flathead bit on there. Will that fit? Please fit. Nope. Nope. All right. Let's try plan A again. Let's see if the penetrating oil helped. Okay. It's turning. It turned, I mean. Can't say it's going to be a good fit for tightening it back out properly. What do you do when you have a stripped out Torx 25? Probably just cut a bigger groove in the flathead part, and or just use just a flathead screwdriver on there. Tighten that back out. You know. Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do. Yeah. So that was that. Okay, so I am thinking. Let's see what we got. That was a typical muff for you, know, nothing too exceptional. Maybe you can throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner, get all that carbon out of there, you know? That's what I'm thinking. Well, it looks special. There's a lot of carbon in there. I'm not rebuilding this engine. You know me, I'll rebuild just about anything, but I'm not doing it. Okay, at least I'm staying strong. Okay, not to say I don't want to do it. It's just I'm trying to figure out my schedule here. I got some limitations. We should pull this spark plug out because we got to get to that. So I'm gonna heat up the ultrasonic cleaner and get it prepared and give this a good bath. And then I was saying too is inside of here needs a little bit of you can see some carbon in there. Okay. Let's pop the spark plug out. This is 5/8. 5/8. Can you see? There you go. All right. And This is a 3/8 drive on that. So what's going on there, huh? What do we have? Alright, so we definitely got to get this to top dead center. Take a look at the, before we adjust the valve clearance, let's take a look at this together here. Now this spark plug is, turn that off. Can you see? Too shadowy? My lighting is horrible in there. So anyway, you can see it's not, it's kind of oily. It'll take some time to clean that up. It's a Champion spark plug, RDZ4H, if you wanted to know what kind of spark plug it was. So clean this up, set it to top dead center. Let's go ahead and pull this valve cover off. That is hopefully going to go better than the other thing that we just tried to pull off, right? So this is T25 again. Ooh, all right. So I have that. Okay. And then let's pull this off. Okay, great. That's good. All right. There's oil there, which is a good sign. So we need to get our feeler gauge because we have to check the clearance on this. So this is going to be the exhaust side and the intake side, and they happen to be the exact same, require the same displacement. I'll give you those values shortly. Let's adjust this. We have to put the engine in cylinder here in the top dead center, right? So let's get something. First off, make sure this is clean. You know, like all. I should have done this beforehand, but now you know, so you don't make the mistake. Clean it all off around there because you don't want any stuff to go in there. I can tell you one thing: the condition of the piston concerns me. It's very carbon deposited up, and I don't want to pull this engine apart. So I'm gonna leave it as it is. Okay, so that goes all the way down, right? Let's just tilt it up some. Okay, I'm going to just turn this so this is all the way at the top. Can that work? Okay. Oh, that's fun. That's not going to turn easily, is it? No, it's not. Oh, that worked. Sorry. This is stopping it from going up. Gotta do it by eye. Okay. Top dead center is when the piston, right? So you have to look through that hole right there, is all the way at the very, very top. Right? So you want to just turn this. Okay, great. Now, one of the things that's important to understand about valve clearance is that the distance, the displacement between the rocker arm here and the valve stem right here, which is this part. I get a better pointer. This is the rocker arm, valve stem, and that's the adjuster. We want it on the exhaust side, right? So what, on a four-stroke engine, right? this opens up a valve that lets the exhaust out, and that needs to be perfectly the distance needs to be correct between here and there, because if it's like too tight, it'll burn up the engine, it'll burn up the valves. If it's too loose, what happens is you won't get the air to the byproducts of the combustion to like exit the exhaust. So that's why the exhaust valve needs to be properly spaced. The same thing with the intake. Intake is the air side. Air side intake will actually be. You can obviously think about it like this. If you were looking at a car, this side of the engine would be the intake side, or you can think about it if you're looking at the smaller engine. This is the side where the fuel comes in, fuel and air. So that's the intake, as in like I'm taking fuel and air in. So that's this side of the engine, and that's what this side is, right? So that needs to be also. They need to be perfectly closed. If they're not closed, when the fuel air mixture is entered into the chamber, right, you get blow by, air will go by, and then you lose power. So it kind of tampers with the capacity for the engine to run properly. Now you want to make sure these valves are always adjusted. With cars, you want to do it like every 100,000 miles, I think. And that's a good value, you know. Or actually, whenever you do your valve cover, you know. If it's leaking, I would do it then. Valve cover gasket would be like this right here. In cars, you know, that always leaks a lot. Or anytime you do your timing belt water pump, I would just adjust your valves at that moment. Okay? That was a little long-winded, but you get the idea. So we're going to do that right now. So the clearance between the rocker arm and the valve stem is going to be 0.003 inches, 2.006 inches. We're going to set them both at 0.004 today. If you want to convert that to millimeters, it's 0.076 thousandths all the way to 0.152 millimeters. Okay, so that's the clearance values we're going to use. And we are, like I said, we're going to use 0.04. Here's our feeler gauge. This is what we're going to use today. Can you see that? Oops, turn that light off, sorry. Is that better? There you go. Okay. So that's what we're going to use today on that. Let's see how that goes. This is like one of my most... I really love doing valve clearances on cars. It's my zen space. Alright, so let's see what we have. First off, we know that the engine is at top dead center, right? So just to double check that. Okay. And then slide that under. So it looks a little tight, right? Yeah. It doesn't even go under. So let us just go ahead and adjust the exhaust side first here. So when you turn to your left, you're going to make it a little wider. Now that's a little too loose, you know, so you want to go back. Put this in here. Trying to do this so you can see the, you know what? So is it bothering you? Yeah, you can't really see much, too much shadow. I'll put that back on. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. That's too much. Okay. So that kind of feels good right there. Okay, that's just about right. It's got a little bit of drag on it, nothing too much. Okay, and that's what you want. Yeah, just enough to have a little bit of drag like that. Okay, let's do the, see this has like no drag. Let's adjust this here. It's interesting. See how loose that is? I wonder if it's supposed to be that loose. Okay. That's too much. I like the drag there. Come on, stay in the frame. Let's see what we got, Charlie. Come on, there we go. We got this. Nope. Just got too tight. Let's see. Okay, so let's just back a little bit, very little. Okay, you can tighten that up just a little bit. Just a small hair. Just a little bit more. Too much. This is too loose. Okay, that's good. That's too tight. Should do it. Okay, that's good. I like it. So let's leave it at that, and I'll put this back on. Yeah, let's put the valve cover back on. This is a torque set-in. Get set up to torque that down. All right, so the torque specs for that valve cover screw is going to be 20 to 30 inches per pound, which is 2.2 to 3.4 Newton meters, and that's a T25. So we got our inch per pounds here. Yep, I'm prepared. Why does that feel so damn tight? Like you're stripping it or something. Just need to double check here. hate these cheap aluminum parts. It does go down. Let's give this just another try here. Yeah, that old saying, you fix it so much till you break it. Let's try this again. I wonder if toss a little lubricant. Let me check the threads, make sure they're fine. Yes, the threads are fine. It's a little WD-40. So we got our torque wrench set. Let's see what we got here. Looks like that's it. Okay, that's good. Alright, don't forget, every time you're done with your tool, just take the torque off of it. Okay. Alright, so that's it. Take a little time to clean this out, the carbon that is, on the exhaust side. Spray a little WD-40 in there. Use my little socket extension. So just get some carbon out of there. Obviously it's not ideal. Ideal would be to like pull this all apart. Take the small block apart. Okay, so that's that for now. I'm going to clean this spark plug a bit. Just using some brake parts cleaner. Show me the label. Yeah, I didn't do that, did I? Oh, it's got like no, alright, it's got like no pressure whatsoever. It's okay. Upside down? Nope. Right side up? Yeah. That thing is dead. I hate when that happens. Did mismatch with the amount of like pressure in the can in relationship to the chemical in the you know. All right, you know, this is a good time to check the gap also. with the feeler gauge. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, let's do that. This is, I'll check right now. I'm going to my 1-bit notepad, right? Let's see, we got a 0.025 inches or 0.635 millimeters. And that's going to be the gap. So we have here 2.8, 2.3, 2.4. Here we go, 2.5. Oh, first time ever using this before. Okay, that's what we're using. Can you see that? I don't know what you can see. Zoom back. There you go. So that is the air gap necessary for the spark plug. So let's just double check that. Yeah, that's a whole lot less. Can't even get that in there. Alright, you know, that might be somewhat of an issue. You know that tool that you always see at the auto store, at the cash register, the gapping tool? Well, yeah, anyway. Yeah, so this definitely does not, that doesn't go in. So what we have here is this. Come in. There you go. It doesn't fit. Yeah, that's better. You can see. Now I don't know if it's a problem because remember it did run well. Or shall I say it ran? I don't know. Well wouldn't be a reflection of all this effort, but it did run. So I think, right, I'm going to leave this alone until I can get a toolless spacer, a spark plug spacer. I do want to clean this a little bit here. See how like greasy that is. I think I get a couple more. Yeah, no. Okay, well, let me get some brake parts cleaner, clean it off, and then we'll move on. And this might be the worst thing to do to plastic is to spray brake parts cleaner on it. So, I don't know why I did that. This thing is notorious to destroy plastic. I'm going to take some time to spray, wash this off with some water, let it dry. That should have been just like new. I just want to mention, when you do this, the rocker arm and valve stem clearance with the feeler gauge, make sure you do this with the engine at the ambient temperature of the surrounding, whatever. Ambient means whatever the temperature is outside or wherever you are, okay? And that's important because aluminum has a lot of thermal displacement. And if it's a hot engine, things are going to be a little bit more larger than what they really are when they cool down. So again, do it at the ambient temperature, the adjustment. Let's toss it in. We're at like 40 degrees. We should be at 45. It's really important to heat this up first before you start using it. And the reason why it's like less energy to... you'll get a better clean because the temperature is at its where it needs to be. And we're at 45. We're going to use 45 degrees Celsius because anything else higher could possibly ignite the medium that this is going to sit in. We're going to put this in this beautiful Get it all the way immersed. We'll do like, let's do 30 minutes. Oops. Oh, we gotta put some, this muffler back. Using a little WD-40 in the screw holes because I want to just kind of make sure that it goes in as smoothly as possible. Alright, so I spray these a little like that. They look a little dry, you know. And to help with lining things out, what I'll do is just kind of put this in place. By the way, just to let you know, this is fresh out of the ultrasonic cleaner, so it's got quite an odor to it. Gonna put things back together. Got a spark plug here. And that is a 5/8. So I just finished watching The Expanse season 4. Man, let me tell you. Get some snacks. It's hard to stop once you start watching. Oh my god, it's so good. Really cool. Kind of hits home with a lot of issues that's happening in the world, doesn't it? About refugees and whatnot. I think that show in particular has a very strong political bent to it. I like it a lot, though. I feel that the writing is like, and the responses are somewhat super realistic. I'm just like, oh man, that's totally how people I know would respond. How I would respond, you know. Yeah, I love that show. It's a good one. I'm glad Amazon picked it up. How does this go again? Wow, that's difficult. Let's get lined up. It's a fighter. Oh, there we go. Finally. Man. Gonna put things back together. Got a spark plug here. And that is 5/8. So I just finished watching The Expanse, Season 4. Man, let me tell you. Get some snacks. It's hard to stop once you start watching. Oh my god, it's so good. Really cool. Kind of hits home with a lot of issues that's happening in the world, doesn't it? About refugees and whatnot. I think that show in particular has a very strong political bent to it. I like it a lot, though. I feel that the writing is like, and the responses are somewhat super realistic. I'm just like, oh man, that's totally how people I know would respond, how I would respond, you know? Yeah, I love that show. So I'm going to take a little oil and rub it on the filter. Now, some of you might not know that you have to put oil on your filter, right? Well, guess what? It's in the manual. If you just read the manual, it'll tell you to do this. So, there's no special secret knowledge base that nobody else has and not sharing. It's just in the manual. Okay, so read your manual when you're trying to figure out what to do with like air filters, because some of them are oiled and some of them are not. Okay. So that cleaned up quite nicely too, didn't it? Alright. So I gave it a shot. You know, we did all this like maintenance stuff on it, and it still behaves the same way. So there's one thing I didn't do. I didn't clean out. I need to actually just check the spark suppressor, make sure that it actually is totally clean. If that's a no-go, then I'm definitely going to give a shot at the just taking off the fuel filter, looking at the fuel lines, and seeing what's possible there. But it should be one of those things. I don't know. It should just work, but I don't know. I'm confused. All right. Looks like this is a T20. This is smaller than the T30 there. This is the spark arrest. I can tell you right now, it looks clean. So. You can't see the engine really choking out because of it, you know. The ultrasonic cleaner did do a good job cleaning it. As you can see, there's nothing really stopping it from any airflow. So, oops. Okay, didn't go anywhere. All right, so see how that looks. That's super clean. You can see all the way through that, which is awesome. And so you can see through it. And that's clean. That's the screw that came out of it. Alright, with all that being said, I don't really... let's take a look inside of there. Make sure there's nothing in there. Yeah, it looks actually immaculate. Because again, this was in the ultrasonic cleaner, so... Yeah, it looks good, you know? Yeah, okay, cool. So I think, right, we're somewhere at a loss right now. I'm gonna do a couple things. I'm just take everything out of it. I'll eliminate as much as possible, so I'll keep that spark suppressor off. I'm gonna put the fuel, check the fuel filter, take the fuel filter off, check the fuel lines. Let's see what we get from there. The only thing left to do, right, is actually take a look at the pressure of the carburetor. See if the carburetor itself is the needle and seat are functioning properly. Yeah. All right. So what I think is one of these lines, the one that with the fuel filter attached to it. I want to see if it's clogged, right? And let's see, can we get it? Things are never as easy as you want them to be, are they? Okay, let's see. Maybe for the yellow line, I think that's the one with the filter. Yeah, the yellow one. Oops, sorry. So I want to check and see if that's clogged. Right. I doubt it's clogged, but I'm going to check and see. So I'm thinking about just maybe like blowing some air through the... I should take this filter off. Air filter housing, that is. So. Okay, so... Alright, so this has like 2 adapters. You can see it or not. Can you see that? Okay, right there. Yeah. So it has a adapter here, an adapter in there. If this is clogged right here, I just can replace the whole line, you know. But I want to blow through it and see. It's good. Probably should put on some glasses. That feels like a good idea. Oh yeah, that's clear, all right. Anyone having doubts? Well, I have just been silenced. Thank you. Okay. I'm blowing this in both directions, so it's going on there. Yeah, it's pretty clear. It's nothing obstructing the flow of fuel. That's for sure. Let's put that fuel filter back on. Pull that line out some more. This line is cool. I just use the cap. Oh gosh. It's a very supple. Unlike the replacement fuel line I have, which is like really hard. And you saw me fixing the trimmer. You know how much problems I had with the yeah, okay. Alright, let's just blow out the this one here. So I probably should I think I should close that, shouldn't I? Probably. Yeah, just alright, good. The force is strong. Okay, you get the idea, right? So the lines are clean. So we have nothing stymieing the flow of fuel. We also have spark arrestor. Nothing's there, so nothing's clogging it from exhaling. We have spark. Maybe the spark plug's bad. Spark plug's bad or the carburetor's bad. That's the only thing left I can think about. Alright, let's try this again. In that chamber right there, right? Watch and see if you can see that open and closes. You see that? Right there. Can you see how that opens and closes? Okay, that's when I'm pulling on the throttle, right? So it's letting air in, whatnot. I think it's not. I think it might not be going all the way up. I think. All right, I'm going to look into that. All right, I want to show you the. So this throttle here, right? Okay, this screw is the idle screw. Because it bumps up against the throttle right here. Now, when you turn the throttle, right? As you screw this down, you can see that it kind of stops right here. If you're looking here, right? So turn the throttle, open it up. That should happen. The Venturi will be all the way open like that. See, it goes all the way through. I think I might need to turn that down some more and double check that and see how far that goes. You know. Anyway, it's my. Another thing to check is right back here. There's a gasket right here. Oops. There's a gasket right here. This rubber gasket needs to be in good condition, otherwise it's going to create a lot of like flow of air coming through, and that could compromise the performance of the engine. So make sure that is properly seated when you go to put this in. Right there. Okay? That O-ring. So I'm going to try a couple of things. Now this is not the best way to solve problems, and I hate this kind of mechanical work where you're just throwing parts at something. I'm going to get a spark plug tester so I can test spark outside of the actual engine itself, because when you place a spark plug here, you just pull on the pull cord. It's not exactly a conclusive test because spark behaves very differently when under pressure. And inside the cylinder chamber, it's under pressure. So this is a really inconclusive test. It might be a nice general overview at first, just to see if you actually have any spark happening, but it's not a good test. So I purchased a replacement spark plug for this, and it's a First Fire FF-19, and that should fit in there, and it matches the specs for this. I also got a spacer for the old plug, so we're going to see if use the old plug, see what it does. Let's go ahead and just fire it up, give it a shot, see what it does. I doubt it's going to solve the problem. I think the problem is more in the carburetor. The carburetor itself, after doing some research, has no high or low because it's a very strict EPA carburetor. Now, this is all new to me how strict these newer things are, but you can tell these things are harder to work on. They feel very much designed to be disposed, much more so than like older things. So let's do the spark plug, see what we get, and then we'll test and see if we can get some high RPMs with maybe like augmenting the fuel air mixture with a little bit of carburetor cleaner. So here's our new spark plug, and we know that this needs to be 0.25 inches. Right? And so what we do, we take the thinnest side here, start here, and just test it, slide that in, the gap here, slide it around, and we're not even close to 2.5, right? So 2.5 would be just, it's a little short of that, right? So what we would do, we go like this, go here. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. No? Okay, never mind. We're gonna go like this then. Go here. Actually, no, that does work. No, that is at 2.5 now. See that? Okay, good. So we are properly spaced, and that should work. Now we're going to take the old spark plug here and check and see the spacing on it. I bought a new spark plug and it just doesn't work. So this one is really just closed down a lot. So I just want to lift it up a little. Oops, that's too much now. So we go like this. Slide it in there. And you're just gonna bring it around. Okay, so we're almost at 0.25, right? And go up just a little bit more. So you go at the top here, put it down like that. Just kind of like push up a little. Yeah. Slide it back in. Okay, that's a little too much now, right? So what you want to do is just take the spark plug right there, right? And yeah, it's hard to do this. So we know it goes in here like that. Slide it around. It goes too far, right? So we're just gonna push it down a little. Back in. Slide it around. Okay, that's definitely 0.25. Okay, so I think we need to do an actual proper test on the spark. See if it works. I bought a new spark plug, but it doesn't fit because it's just not the right spark plug. So we'll have to try something else. But let's try. Definitely looks like it doesn't want to start. Bring it back. So we got, this is the old spark plug, right? It's a Champion RDZ4H. Now, trying to find an alternative spark plug for this thing is a pain in the butt, right? So I went to Lowe's. Did I say it right? Yeah, anyway, Lowe's. And this is the replacement spark plug they have. Now, this doesn't match what's online with the part number. So, let's give it a try and see what happens, right? This will be the second spark plug I've gotten from them, so hopefully the thread pitches on this also matches that. So, does that even go in? See what you see the issue here I'm having? It's like nothing matches. It's like, oh god, not again. See, that goes in? Alright, so again. Oh no, that does match. Okay, never mind. Yeah, the last one I got didn't slide in. Had an emotional moment. Okay, so we're gonna try to. I can't show you because it's a little dark outside. But if it works, I'll record it during the day. I'm going to have to modify this carburetor's main jet. And to do that, I'm going to have to drill it out. But before I do that, I want to make sure the carburetor, I want to check the carburetor's condition, right? And to do that, I'm going to use this MOTIvac just to check the pressure of this carburetor. This is a set. It comes with a couple of connectors. And when you do this, the first thing you want to do, especially, it's important you do this when you have a brand new carburetor, as in like, you just bought this, never ever been put on an engine, no fuel in it. You want to do this with a carburetor that's just been rebuilt also. So you want to check and find out which one's the part that sucks fuel in, right? So this would be the impulse side. This is the side that pushes fuel back out into the tank. This is the part that sucks fuel in. Suck fuel in. That was a weird way of saying that. How do I know this, right? So if you push the primer like this, put your finger on top, right? You hear that? The air is coming out of here. So this check valve, right, kind of it traps air from traveling one direction. So when you push down, it sucks in, right? And it sucks in, brings the fuels in, and it closes the. This is a check valve, that thing inside of there. It closes it off so nothing can get past. No more fuel can get in, right? When you push on this, it pushes fuel back that way. So it just keeps on opening and closing throughout the usage of the carburetor as the engine runs. It opens and closes, so fuel can keep cycling through. So it's important to test the pressure of these things. So I was a little long-winded, but you get the point. So the first thing you would do, find the intake side. So this is going to be the intake side. Intake side tends to be the side with the diaphragm where the primer bulb is. And you get some fuel, whatever fuel mixture you use on your device. And I get this really small fuel line. It's the smaller of the, usually it comes a little bigger because it seals best. Put some fuel in a container like that, squeeze it, just to get some fuel in there because you need to lubricate the valve for it to seal properly. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull it apart, and let's show you what's in this kit that we're going to use. Right, so the kit comes with a whole lot of fittings. Right, and comes with a hose here. So this hose. Maybe this one I'll use. We used this already. Okay, so what you do, you take the hose here. This is your MOTIvac. You put it in, there's two settings. There's pressure, it's written right here, a little hard to see. And then there's vacuum. I don't want vacuum, so I'm going to put it back to pressure, right? So you go like this. Okay, and this comes with the Vidivac kit. And you find the, like one of these small adapters. So let's try to find one that will fit into that. Yeah, that'll work. So take that, slide that into here. You get a good fit. Put this back so you don't lose anything. Alright, so we got the Vidivac ready to go. Don't really like the packaging on this. It's a little... doesn't seem like it's done well. Okay. Wait, what is that? Oh, useless video time. Anyway, so we get that out of the way, right? Okay, so now we have our Vidivac set in a pressure testing mode, right? We're going to take the fuel line. One sec. All right, so you know, like I said, the intake on the top here, you want to just kind of slide the hose on, and you want to. We're going to do a couple of things. We're going to look for the pop off. Pop off is when the needle kind of reseats itself because the pressure got too high, and I just want to see how this holds. Right. So if you don't want to go past 10 psi, so let's go ahead and pump that up. Okay, so if it holds at 10 psi, okay, see it's not holding. Right, so that's not good. Alright, so this carburetor feels a little, let's see, we can just double check and see. Okay, so that's not good. That's not holding the pounds per inch. So we might have a needle that's kind of loose, so we'll have to check that some more. I decided to change the valve a little bit. So this connector right here seems to give a better seal, and you can see how it's going to hold the pressure now. So again, we're going to go back on top here with this is a different connector, by the way. The other one that I had previously was leaking air. So we go back to the intake part, and we put it on here, and you'll see we're going to put it at 10 psi, and it's going to hold. Probably should have done the same. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right, so watch the rating on this here. Let me get the glare out of your eyes. Okay. Oh, that's great. Not connected. All right, one more time. Let's try this again. Yeah. We're gonna do this. It's gonna work. We got this. Okay. Alright, so that's on, right? Let's see if you can see what's happening here. So you see it goes up. See right there, it holds at 10 psi. So that's what you want. You want to be able to like have that hold. And if that's not holding, you have an issue with the carburetor leaking through the needle and seat. So that's what you want to look for, okay? And then to get the pressure off, you just push this bottom part of the valve like that. All right. All right. So we want to test the now on the exhaust side. The return side here. We have this would be where the fuel returns into the fuel tank on the carburetor. If we hit the primer bulb, right, watch how the fuel pressure will go up. Now each time I hit it, the pressure will increase. If it stays, that means that the primer bulb check valve is actually closing off and you have no leakage. So let's take a look. Let's see. So you can see that. So it's 5, it stays. Okay, I'm going to zoom down now so you can just watch the dial itself. Actually, maybe I'll just go. Try to keep it still for you. So it holds it. When we get to 10, I'm just going to hold it right there. And let's say you know that that check valve on the primer bulb is going to hold. It's holding the actual pressure, which means it's not leaking, which is good. That way your engine will not flood. So there you go. That's how you pressure test your carburetor on the fuel intake side and the fuel return side. Okay, and again, just hit that to take the pressure off. So we got some good news. It's possible that I can adjust this here with this. This is a, it might be adjustable, the fuel to air ratio, just because this here, this little brass plug goes all the way through to the Venturi. You'll have to use a, this has multiple names. This is a micro single D, so there's two of them, right? And they look like the letter D. One's a little bit larger, and one's smaller. This is the small one, and it's hard to see, but it is a letter D. I don't know how to see if I can get it facing the direction how D would look like to you. There you go. Okay, so you put this down in here, and you turn it turn it counterclockwise to richen it up. Now I did that already. We're gonna go ahead and try to like fire this up and see how this works. we are. Alright, it's got like half choke. Choke is closed. That's what happens when the choke is closed. I'm going to go half choke so you can see what happens. See, like it just falls flat. So the last thing we're gonna do is probably gonna widen up the main jet, and we'll see how that runs. So that makes a difference. At this point of the game, we got to do a couple things. I'm gonna pull this carburetor apart. Remember we tested this? We know that it's fine, holds pressure, it behaves as it's supposed to. Which is most important because we know that the carburetor is functional properly, that is, and it's clean. Everything, all the passages flow. Pressure tested is important. It gives you like empirical evidence that you cannot observe with just like looking at the outside. So we need to pull this apart and look at the main jet, and and then we're gonna widen the main jet. We're gonna use two tools, right? We're gonna use this pen vise, it's called. This is made by Starlet, and this pen vise, that's the information about it. If you want to get it, they do 3 different sizes. This pen vise is it goes from 0 to 0.040 inches, so it closes all the way up, and it goes that wide, and then the cat number 166A, and hopefully that should be enough information for you to find it. Okay. Alright. The next thing I'm going to do is use this small micro drill bits, right? This is manufacturer's information right here. Okay, so this is, I believe, I might need that number. That's the back of it. Okay, it's 4512010. Okay, all it is just really small drill bits. Let's crack this open. You've seen this already, so it shouldn't be too what do you call it, new. Right. Got a lot more to go, it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and try to leave this just
like this. Okay, and okay, here's our gasket. Here, goes there. Spring, pull that out. Okay. Now this is the main jet, the blue part there, and I'm sorry, bronze. And what we want to do is just kind of check and see which one of these work best. Find the one that fits inside of it, right, first. So. That's too small. That's number 69. Oh boy. Alright, so you see what I'm trying to do. I'm going to try to keep on going up in size until I find... Let's go with the largest one, see what the largest one is here. Okay, so that's the largest one. So that's number 91. So we might have a small issue here where this is actually too... I need something bigger. Okay, so this is 91. This is a point... this sucks. Okay, so this is a 0.039 inches. So this might be... I might have to get a different set to actually drill this open some more. This thing doesn't want to be fixed. So I kind of have to press this out. I'm unsure exactly how much further down this goes. And I'm having a little bit of issue with this main jet here. It's a little glary, so I'm just going to let's lift it out like this. See, it has a... it has that little... there's an O-ring around it. Just try not to lose things. Things are getting small, much smaller. So this here has a little O-ring around it, the jet, that is, and there's an O-ring. That's the other side. And I'm having a little hard time figuring out. It's definitely... it's the other side of it. So anyway, I am trying to get a feel for how wide of a hole that can be. Okay, anyway, so I'm trying to get a idea, so I have to shine some light to see if there's any. First of all, there is a hole there. I need to punch a hole through that. Okay. Now I tried to do this, and it was not easy trying to find something. I went pretty small. I went really, really small. Oh boy. That's not good. Let's just put that back. Let's see, so I have these two here. Man, this is insane. Never thought I'd need like magnifying glasses. Oh. The truth is, I do now. Okay. Okay, so this thing is a lot smaller than I think. Yeah. All right, I'll bring it back when I find. So I think I found the. I'm going to start with the smallest. This is a 80, and this is a 0.0135 in size, and I don't even know what you can or cannot see. I know that that's not going to work for you. Okay. So, here's my pin vise here. Oops, sorry. And just going to put that in, tighten that down a little. This is the smallest bit in that set. I would say this is comparable in size to just if you have like a brass, like a brass wheel, brass wire wheel or something like that. This is about as thick as a brass wire wheel is. And again, this stuff is super difficult to work with because it's so little. So if you have any, if you have issues seeing on such a small magnitude, you're gonna struggle a little bit. Not the worst thing in the world, but that looks wonky. Okay, so boy, this is hard. All right, maybe that's better. Okay. So what I've done, right, is I take the light like this. I kind of shine up so you can see the light. And then I just kind of find that hole. All right, there you go. I'm through. See? Oh, not. I'm through, right? And you're just gonna widen this up. I'm gonna go to the next size. Right. So I'm gonna go up another drill bit. Okay. I'm gonna go up. I'll probably go up 2 more, I think. All right, we went up 1 more. This is a 0.015. This is number 79 drill bit. Let's see what we can do here. Again, I put the light underneath. I just want to get a feel for how much I can go through here. This is the next drill bit up in size. Oh my gosh, this is hard. It's so small. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So we had a. Can you see that? All right, good. Right. And now I'm going to do just kind of like work it a little bit. Just working it. It's going to widen the hole. Yeah. Let's see if we can get all the way through. Oh, there, yeah, I think it's working. Yeah, it's almost there. Ah, there it is. Okay, so it's all the way through, right? Now, I think it's a good idea to kind of stop, so you can see it. It's a little hard to see, but I did break through. I know it's possible. Okay, so this is 0.045. And the other, it seems like I use in another unit. I don't know what that unit is called, but it's a 79 is the size of the bit. Right. So I don't want to go any wider because I can't undo it easily without having to like solder stuff. So let's just double check that jet. Oh, yeah, you saw what just happened. Yeah, that would have been a really long day. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna double check that. Put the carburetor back together and see if that works. If not, we'll go up a little bigger. That works. That's amazing. Only like 2 months later. Alright. Alright, so I'm thinking I'm going to have to adjust the idle a little bit because it dies when you get off the throttle. So I'm going to see if I can turn the idle up a little. I think that'll keep it from dying.
I really hope you liked this video. It was interesting. You know, not having a carburetor be adjustable is not easy to work with. Yeah, I'm just putting some stuff back. Remember, we took the spark arrestor off, so we had to put that back. Yeah, this is challenging. You know, it was a lot of uncharted territory. You know, I have this thing where I say, finish what you start, do what you say. You know, so you know, that's what we did right here. I finished what I started and do what I said. Most, you know, some people might have just bailed out on this a long time ago, thinking it's not worth it. It's just a blower, you know. You can get a new one, but that's not the point. You know, this is one less thing in the landfill, and it's very functional. You know, the carburetor themselves, they are challenging to work with, these newer ones, when they don't have adjusters on them. So what I just did hopefully will give you a big insight into like what you can do to like to just like, you know, get these things operational when they are no longer meeting the needs of the engine. Because what happens, the engine itself will it just grows older, you know, and as with anything that grows older, it basically, it's called wearing in, you know. The engine has worn itself in, and because it's worn itself in, it needs to have a different sort of fuel air mixture to keep itself going. So when you can't adjust that, you know what happens. You just won't be able to get things right in regards to like how much fuel and air is going to enter into the cylinder area. So what I would say I learned from this, well, it's cool that you gotta be careful. It's this hot. It just, you know, you saw me run it. I learned that these things are very finicky once you are no longer able to access the once you're no longer able to access the actual mixture. And what does it mean? Are they worth? Are the tools worth it? I mean, I think so. You know, I mean, it's not exactly something you can throw away. You know, my friend, she found this just on the ground somewhere. So for her, it's probably about, I think, like $40 into the cost of repairing this thing. So is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know what these things are. I don't know what they cost brand new, but $40 is not too bad for something you found for free, you know. So anyway, hey, if you like the video, go ahead and like it, you know, thumbs up, subscribe, comment too, you know, and let me know what you think we could have done better, or just something to help other people process the experience also, you know, more efficiently. So go ahead and subscribe also. That really helps. You know, I'm trying to like make this my main source of income and interest at the same time, and that's never going to be easy without your support. So I can't do it without you. I should set up a Patreon page, so I'll probably get around to doing that. But in the meantime, if you want to, just go ahead and you know, check me out. If you want to chat with me on social media, facebook.com/MotionDesignStudio, and then you have you can also find me on you know, Instagram, same thing, and you know, you can also just message me here on YouTube also. That works too, YouTube and Facebook. Okay, thanks again, and I hope that this was helpful. Go ahead and like and subscribe, please, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, I'm just gonna put this all back together. You saw how I did it. So.